So welcome everyone to our quarterly meeting. We've got a jam-packed schedule to kind of get through. And so we're just going to go ahead and start working through this. As a friendly reminder, this is a virtual meeting. It is being recorded. And so as we like to do is we like to remind ourselves of the land that feeds, sustains us. We are doing our land acknowledgement, which is the university, the land that we reside on here is named for the Ute tribe, is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. The University of Utah recognizes and respects the enduring relationship that exists between many Indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands. We respect the sovereign relationship between tribes, states, and the federal government, and we affirm the University of Utah's commitment to partnership with Native nations and urban Indian communities through research, education, and community outreach activities. You all know who I am, but just in case if you don't, my name is Dr. Annie Isabel Fukushima. I'm the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies, and I run the Office of Undergraduate Research with this lovely team. I'm going to have my team go ahead and introduce themselves. We're going to start actually with Angie. Angie, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Angie Aleva. I'm an academic program coordinator here from the office, and you've probably been getting a lot of emails from me. So thank you for joining us this morning.
So you'll be hearing a ton more from Angie. I'd like to have next introduce themselves, Cindy.
Hello, I'm Cindy Greaves. I am the Associate Director in the Office of Undergraduate Research, and my main task or my main role in this office is managing our Year Out program.
Yeah, let's hear from Shelley, then Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Shelley Parker. I'm the events manager for the Office of Undergraduate Research. I do the education series, the grad school mini expo, and the symposia.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Santiago, and I'm an academic program coordinator here in the Office of Undergraduate Research for the Early Explorations Scholars Program, and I also handle some of the scholarships at the office.
And we also have our undergraduate research leaders. Really quick, folks, for the agenda, we're going to do some updates on Europe and the changes. Nothing big, so no one worry about that. Going to just do some quick reminders about the Outstanding Undergraduate Research Award, as well as just some quick reminders about the Early Exploration Scholars. But the bulk of our program, this program meeting, will be about summer undergraduate research. And then we're going to do a bit of a conversation about some of the things that are in the pipeline for undergraduate research and curriculum, as well as some reminders. And so just as a friendly reminder, you have been invited to this meeting because you represent different campus activities that are happening across the University of Utah with regards to undergraduate research. We have MOUs with many of you, and if you are interested in formalizing your partnership and have not, we welcome you to reach out to Angie, who can go ahead and get that process started with the office. But before we get into the agenda, we just wanted to invite everyone, if you could just chat into the chat feature, or if you're unable to use your chat, what undergraduate research success would you like to share? So you can either unmute yourself or use a chat feature. If you're unable to use the chat feature, just do the lovely unmute yourself and simply start speaking. Yeah, feel free to say more than like who you are.
Everybody. This is Will Holland. I see my colleague Marcus Pesalesi is on here with me, and we have started, along with Kalani Raphael, the Ha'umana O Pacifica program. And I think this is the first time that we've gotten to join an OUR meeting. The last one happened to coincide with our DMR Diabetes Center retreat, where we had one of our students speaking, but we recruited 8 students last summer that are of Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander origin to participate in summer research. And we scored an 11 on our R25 to fund kidney-related research for undergraduates that we should see the notice of award for any day.
Congratulations. That's wonderful news, Will. Thank you so much for joining us, and your colleague as well. Thank you for that. I see some folks chatting it in, so I'll just go ahead and read the chat. And then Mary, thank you so much. The College of Education will host its first faculty and undergraduate research panel tomorrow. Hey, Mary, go ahead and send that to the office. We want to share that out, so please share it with us. We would love to let others know about what's happening with our colleges. Roots Sure program application just opened. Wonderful, Megan. They just had their first successful cohort of 13 NIH grant funded students last year and are excited for this year. Abby, it said fiscal year 23 summer undergraduate research students in the molecular pharmaceutics program was accepted into the PharmD program at University of Maryland. Oh, that's so awesome. Yes, we love knowing that our students are going on into graduate school, into their professions. And Gloria said, welcome, welcome. Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Did anyone else want to share something exciting that's in the pipeline? Good news? You're all good news because you're here. So wonderful. Gloria shared GSRM applied for competitive renewal. Let's send good energy to Gloria's way and her team. That's exciting. Yes. Any other good shares? You can unmute yourself or you can just chat. Gloria, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry, this is Walita. I used
Oh.
Gloria's link.
Oh, sorry, I was just looking at the names. No worries, Walita.
I
Yeah.
can rename myself, but we've had a lot of great success in NARI over the past few months. One personal success, my first cohort of students from NARI in 2022, she texted me a couple of months ago and said that she got into medical school at the University of Utah, and I was in tears. I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, thank you. Like, Nari's giving me back this confidence, and I never thought I would get into med school. So thank you for that. I was really excited because she was my first cohort of students, and I got to know her really well. And she's an amazing student, and hopefully she has choices. The University of Utah was one of them, and she was just overwhelmed with that. So hopefully she chooses Utah.
That's wonderful. You're getting other glowing, amazing. That's wonderful. We love that kind of news. And yeah,
And then
go ahead.
And then just with Sundance, the NARI, there were 2 films made. One was called Winding Path, specifically about Jenna Murray, who is currently an MD PhD student. And then there was another one, a NARI film, that they're going to use it as a web film now, and we can use that for recruitment. But Winding Path is getting all sorts of recognition and accolades from Sundance, and we've been busy with that last year. But if you guys, I'm hoping that we get access to those films soon and we can share with our community and, our partners across the university so they can take a look at kind of what more NARI is about. And we've been really excited with that.
That's wonderful. Hey, can you share that with us? If folks would also like content in our newsletter, like that, we can blast it out too. So please do share. That's amazing. Congratulations, Walida. So wonderful. Thank you. And we got a couple more chats in here. So we have, let's see, Addison said linguistics undergrad capstone class got their research accepted into studies in second language acquisition journal. That's wonderful. Wonderful to see it in the publication pipeline. And then that's it. Okay. Any other check-ins about success? What's going well? All right. Well, if you think of things later, we can always get to it. But hey, we also are here because you know what? Doing this work is so important. It is not always easy. We are doing our best and you all are doing great work. You have huge success. But I would love if folks could use this opportunity to use the chat feature to also share what challenges you hope we will discuss in this meeting. If you want to go ahead and just make a note of that in the chat. If you feel like it's something you must unmute yourself for, go ahead and just use the unmute button and just start talking.
Yeah, Annie, I just wanted also to say that the students that in my group, they have been supported by the program for going to Argonne National Lab, and their work is going to be published. So it's a great thing, and we acknowledge our program and for the funding and supporting the students.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for that, Shanti. That's really good news. We love that. Okay, we're still on the good news. We don't have to talk about challenges if we just need to be on the feel good moment. Anybody want to use a chat feature or unmute yourself? Any challenges you'd like to talk about?
Can you guys all hear me?
Yes, Monica. Is that Monica? Yes.
Yep, this is Monica Salas from Huntsman Cancer. One challenge that I would love to discuss with the group is program recruitment. we just opened up our portal for the Fight for the Fight Cancer Research Internship. It targets students from Howard and Morehouse College. So, I mean, it is hard to recruit when you're not in the same community as these students, but I'm wondering if anybody has any tips or like suggestions on what strategies they use to recruit to students that are not within the same community as us. Yeah.
That sounds great. So Angie, can you make a note that when we start talking about summer programming, we need to discuss recruitment? We will talk a little bit about that, but yeah, let's open that up for recruiting in other contexts. That's a great question. Other questions that we want to make sure we get to in this meeting or challenges? I see Mary said we are trying to create a new culture in the College of Education. We are working multiple angles to support undergraduate research, including events, food, and linkages to faculty. Recommendations are invited. So how do we shift our culture to be a proponent and supportive of involving undergrads in the undergraduate research, in the research enterprise? I think that's really great. I know the VPR is also going to be pushing out more things and also about promoting it widely. So we start to shift the campus-wide culture, but that's a great point. And so let's make sure we talk about that as well. So let's get, so Angie, can you make a note that we need to find time today to get to that? So we'll make sure to talk about that. Great. So shifting campus culture. All right, if folks have other things, feel free to just use the chat and we'll make sure we get to those priorities. I'm going to bump it over to Cindy, who's just going to do a quick update about the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program.
Yeah, so we are wrapping up our spring semester. We are funding 204 students from across the campus. So that's really fun and exciting. They're all getting started on new and exciting research projects. One of the updates, and then we have our next deadline would be March 8th for anyone who wants to apply for summer semester. Our other update is we're going to have a new application portal. We've been using just an easy form stack form, but we are going to be switching to InfoReady, and many of you may be familiar with InfoReady. We currently use InfoReady for our SPUR application. And so we're shooting for a February 1st launch date of this new application, so it will be ready for that March deadline. But we're hoping that everything goes smoothly. And then, if anybody has any questions or concerns, or if anybody has any feedback with using InfoReady, we're open for any kind of feedback, but we're shooting for February 1st to try this new system out.
That's great. Thank you, Cindy, for that update. So if you have feedback, please do connect with Cindy or the office in general, and we would love to receive your feedback as you use our different platform, which many of you are already familiar with InfoReady. And so we are now going to just do quick, and I see Will has a question about international students. So Angie will make sure to make note that we get to that question as we talk about summer undergraduate research. That's a great question about how do we support international students. And so we'll get to that. Just a quick reminder, the Outstanding Undergraduate Research Awards, the ceremony is April 1st. We hope that you will join us. If you have not received an invite and would like to receive an invite, please let us know. We would love to have you at the award ceremony. Please make sure you nominate your awesome faculty who are part of your research teams, and we would love to get them recognized. Also, don't forget to nominate your outstanding students. They don't have to be funded by the Office of Undergraduate Research to receive this award. They could have done just your programs, a range of programs. They could have done our programs with Europe and SPUR and so forth, but we really just want to recognize outstanding undergraduate research. The dean selection has to be finalized by March 1st. So if you've not received communication from your associate dean, or chair, please let me know, and I'm happy to introduce you to the person who is the primary contact for receiving those awards and getting them to the office. This ceremony, we also recognize our scholarship recipients as well as a Monson Prize, which is a $1,500 check to a student who writes about an amazing paper on social change. So just really quick highlight on early exploration scholars. Jennifer, I'm going to bump it to you really quickly.
So we just had our first cohort of early exploration scholars, January 23rd. So that was yesterday. We had our orientation, and we awarded about 59 scholars. And then if you can see here, you can see how many came from each college. We have a nice mixture there. And part of the Early exploration scholars, we have our research tours as well. We're offering 9 different facilities for our tours. If you like, you can always check out our tours on the website. The tours have different labs and faculty members that show the projects that they're working on, and our early exploration scholars will be attending. If you would like to participate in any of our tours or would like to show your labs, there's a link here for FormStack to fill out.
Yeah, so that link is for folks to sign up to be on the schedule to be the tour. So please do, if you'd like our students to come to you, please do sign up. Great, thank you for that. Let's just keep going. If folks have questions, drop it into the chat. So we would like to talk about summer undergraduate research. We also got another question about international, so we'll get to those questions. We've got really some great questions that Angie's keeping track of. But before we get to your questions, Angie, can you go ahead and let's have Angie do her updates here.
So the summer program for undergraduate research SPUR, we are currently winding down in our deadline. The deadline is this Sunday, January 28th at 11:59 p.m. So if you know of any students that are interested in applying undergraduate students, let them know that the deadline is coming up. However, if to submit their letters of recommendation, that deadline is January 31st. So there is a little bit of time in between when the application closes and when those letters are due. As of yesterday, we've had a total of 535 applications for SPUR. And of those 535, we've had 154 SPUR applicants have expressed interest in being considered for other summer programs. And for this application cycle, we featured 7 program partners in the application. So that was really great. So in the future, if any program partners would like to be enfolded in SPUR application, that's something we can definitely talk about.
So Angie, can you just share with folks how you did recruitment this time? Because I think that's a really great question of how do we recruit students who are not in our institution, because SPUR is also nationally competitive. And so we maybe do you want to share those tips and also share with them, because we are listing other programs, what will happen, when will should they expect to receive those students who are interested in their programs as well?
Yeah. For sure. So with this cycle, we added a question in our application. If, and the wording is like, if students are not selected to participate in SPUR, would they like to be considered for another program, summer program here at the U? And we list those out in the application. So then students are able to select whichever programs, is of interest to them, as well as we do have a link out. So we have like the program partner page on the OUR website, which has links to all your programs on there. And so like that's where it would take the students if they were interested and wanted to learn more. So like I said, our application cycle does close January 28th. And then our SPUR faculty mentor, they will be getting the list of students in February. So by February 5th, they will have already received their packets of students to be able to go through it. So then they would need to let us know by February 26th, what their recommendations are of students they'd like to select. And then from that point, we would be able to pull those students that were interested in different summer programs, and we'd be able to share it with those folks that are listed in the application and we have MOUs with.
Yeah, and just to clarify that process is that students can now apply for multiple programs. There's nothing stopping them. So there is the visibility of the program partners who signed. I think for NSF, REUs, you have a different portal system. So then may not rely on the internal operations and application system. But I think, Angie, can you talk about like how you reached out to different universities and all that, what you did? That just might help give a sense to folks, like your little outreach to different colleges and all of that. We sent it out to the opportunity to our NCUR, so National Conference on Undergraduate Research. We also promoted the undergraduate research, which I think we need to do one more push for UCUR, the Utah Conference on Undergraduate Research.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the University of Utah, we do have a partnership, the UIA partnership, and that's, I believe, 8 or 9 other colleges across the United States have like officially partnered with the University of Utah. And we were able to, send our SPUR just like a promotional spur, apply for spur if you're interested, to those students as well, their Office of Undergraduate Research, as well as their honors college as well. We sent those communications to them. And then we did.
And by we, Angie
Sorry.
means Angie sent it. She doesn't mean
Yeah.
we, the big we, it's Angie did it. So thank you, Angie.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, keep
No,
going.
you're fine. As well as I did reach out to other R1 institutions across the United States, and I sent them the same message that I've sent a lot of you folks here that are faculty listservs or SPUR mentors, the message of, this is what SPUR is. If you're interested, apply, and the benefits. That same message we sent out to those other R1 institutions, same one, their Office of Undergraduate Research, as well as their honor colleges. And we've actually had quite a few students, other students from those institutions show up to some of our programming, like the SPUR application workshop that happened earlier this month. We had quite a few students from other institutions that saw those messages that we sent and were interested and came to learn about it.
We also created an asset, and by we, I mean it already is a template that undergraduate studies designs for us. And so it's an asset that then Angie went in and helped create for the faculty. And then she created some language for them to help promote it to their professional network. Since if you are a sociology professor, you'll probably have the best sociology networks. If you are in engineering, you're going to have your own networks. And so Angie created some content, shared that out for them to also participate in pushing out. So that's how the office has been supporting the push out. If folks are MOU'd with us or purchasing a spot, then those folks, the specific MOU there's certain programs that have outlined in their agreements that this is a more deeper partnership. And so we do provide some support for that. And so we did that with their faculty, and that was for Reach You Too, and then Happiest is what we do that specifically for. And so that's how we do some of the outreach, but maybe others have some ideas about how you reach your networks and all of that. I know that folks go to conferences and stuff like that. So did anyone else want to just unmute themselves and start talking, share?
Yes, I want to. Hi, everyone. So definitely the most success we had is by attending couple conferences, the SACNAS in the STEM conference, the ABRACAMS conference, and for us, we attend also a genomics conference. For the NARI program, we attend other conferences that are specific for Native Americans. And whenever we can, we try to put our flyers and we try to ask for a little piece of the booth so we can be there and present. We have applied for hosting sessions in some of these conferences. So yes, that has been very successful in terms of recruitment. The second part of this is advertisement in SACNAS Opportunities Board. That has been a good way to do it. And definitely pathways2science.org is a fantastic place where a student can actually go throughout the country, select where they are at their career stage, and look for opportunities, and they can customize it to their desires and topics of interest.
Sorry, I'm out of control with my buttons over here. I'm really sorry, folks. I thank you for that, Gloria. That's great. Tino, I see your hands raised. You want to just go ahead and start talking?
Yeah, so this is Tino Nyawelo. I run funded NSF RU program in our department. One of the things that I wanted to share also is this year I traveled to many conferences to national society, because we're also targeting also a student from minority group. And so we dedicated some time to go to those conferences. So we went to National Society of Hispanic Physicists, National Society of Black Physicists, SACNAS. And then one of the way to attract a student actually to visit their posters, listen to them, and then through those interactions, invite them to your program. But also yesterday, I gave a colloquium at Utah Valley University. So some of you are talking about R1. but also we need to be reminded that there is liberal art colleges that they don't have research facilities, so we are targeting those things. And we went to Utah Valley yesterday. I gave a colloquium there about research opportunities.
That's great. Thank you so much. So you may want to kind of reach out to your chairs, your deans, associate deans to see if there's resources for you to travel, that in-person connection at specific conferences where you may recruit students is really important. You'll get them through your peers, your colleagues, faculty. You'll also get them directly if there's student presentation opportunities. And then OUR is trying our best to promote you as well as, yeah, so those are all really great suggestions for recruitment strategy. So I hope that answered the question around recruitment. There was also a question about how do we, oh, go ahead, Josh. So it looks like, Josh, we have a large group of new SRI students. Great, Josh, please share the opportunities with your students. I think that would be great if you can just share it out with them. Wonderful. So Josh is making his students available to be the recipients of tons of information. Great. All right. The other question that I think that was on there, Angie, there was a question about supporting international students. I think it depends on your grants and all of that. So we can't say that there is one way to onboard international students. I know with OUR, with our funding, we're a little bit limited to students who are matriculated at a university, and one of our challenges is they have to be at a US university, because then what happens is we then would have to then get letters of approval for those students to work if they're, say, which we had this last summer, a student at another university who came to do research at ours. We had to get letters of approval. And so that took us a little bit of time. And so I think that the other thing, I know that one thing to consider is if the student is in credit at the University of Utah, then they would be eligible for our different program offering. That may be something to consider. Well, I hope that answers that question around how do we support international students in accessing our opportunities. The OUR does have some resources through private donors for undocumented students. So if you have undocumented students who are interested in doing research, apply, and you want to support them, and you do not have the scope within your grants or within your resources to support them, please do reach out. That's where I think we have a little bit of additional resources with an OUR, but not a ton. So please do reach out if there's interest in that. But for international students, do other folks have any other suggestions on how you navigate supporting international students? And I think that was the question, right? Well, it's like supporting students who are from other countries. Yes.
Yeah, so to me, it would be a hiring issue on paying
Yes.
anybody that is not a US citizen or has a work permit.
Yeah.
I guess a similar related question. I know that Marcus is working on some larger grants that would allow for basically some funding to go to Tonga.
Mhm.
But does anybody have any other grant mechanisms that they're familiar with? I think typically foundations are more likely to be able to provide funds for students that are not citizens. Has anybody run across anything that funds non-US citizens?
Yeah, in our program in physics, we have a couple of PI that I think every year at least we have one international student that through their grant they will be able to hire. They will get the same benefit, but there is some work that has to be done in the back end, how to pay them and all those kind of things.
So Tino, can you clarify though, is this international student and international student at another US university?
Both. So we have
Okay.
international student in other
Yeah.
institutions that
Uh-huh.
we supported in the last 3 years or so. But
Mhm.
also last year we have a US citizen who is also study abroad.
Mhm.
So both of those cases we were able to support them.
Yeah. Great.
Annie, I have a question.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is related to the slide that is still showing. So, or Angie, you can also let me know. Out of those 154 applications that have expressed interest in other summer programs, I wonder if you can share more about your plan for that. When will, my understanding is you said if the student is not selected for SPUR, then these students will go into these other programs. So what is the timeline for these other programs to know about these students?
So
And
Angie,
how do you plan to, if a student is interested in more than one program? So tell us a little bit more, what's next? What's the next step?
So the first question is, Angie, can you tackle the question around what is the timeline? That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, our SPUR faculty mentor will get the packets of students of all of the students that applied or are interested in their projects by February 5th, and then they will need to let us know by February 26th what their recommendations are. So then we will be sending out decision letters on or March 1st, pardon me, and then students would need to let us know by March 8th what their decisions were.
But
So
those
whether
are
they were
for
accepting,
positive acceptance.
accepting, yes. So they would let us know if they are wanting to accept it by March 8th. So that being said, once a student has indicated to us if they were selected for SPUR, and they selected, for example, they were interested in RA GSRM, but they are declining it. Then after March 8th, then we would be able to share those with our program partners that were included.
I think we're going to have to do phased sharing, Angie, because
okay.
there's going to be like hundreds of students who will not be selected, right?
Yeah.
And we want to get those packets to our partners sooner, because then they for sure are not going to be in our top list, right? So we may want to have the students' applications go sooner in a phased one, right? So I would say like phase one, I'm sorry, February 26th. So maybe around the 28th is when we can share the packets with our partners. Would that work for you, Gloria?
I'll let, so,
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm very grateful for your efforts and for partnering. I am a little bit concerned that it might be that even if these students are great, we are also proceeding with our own applications, and we also had to make these decisions early on. So even if they are, let's say, an exceptional student that will benefit from these programs, if we hear from them too late, we won't be able to onboard them.
I see. So you need us to share it with you sooner.
And
Yeah.
had enough time to do all the paperwork and everything that needs to happen.
Okay. I'm hearing you. So what we're going to do then is Angie and I will touch base about what would be a reasonable timeline. This is why we wanted to talk about this, so we can figure out what is a reasonable timeline, because what we can do is we can share with you applicants sooner, but let you know which ones are priority for SPUR. And then that way, those ones you would not be,
Yeah, we want
yeah. So we'll kind of
recruit, exactly, or
Yes,
immediately
yeah.
recruit.
Or what we can do is let me touch base with Angie and then see what we can do. But this is why we wanted to talk about this, because this is the first time we're doing it. So this is like, this is kind of a pilot for all of us. So
absolutely. And I'm very excited about this pilot.
Yeah, great. Okay. And Monica,
similar,
go ahead.
I'm trying to reciprocate, and in the future, we should also, like from our programs to other programs, but that would be to 3.0.
Yeah. So we will, Angie and I will touch base. Angie will make note of that, and then we'll connect about what's reasonable, because lots of moving parts and all of that. So we will definitely circle back, and Angie will communicate out to the partners about what's happening next. Monica's hands up.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question about your application portal and the students who are not selected to your program. So I'm just thinking ahead. So students apply to SPURS, and then they have to also apply to the referred programs, right? Go through their application process as well, submit additional letters of recommendation. So they have to do all the legwork. So kind of to eliminate that piece, I'm wondering if you could share what your application looks like. I know that we can easily go in and, pretend we're students
Yeah.
but that could be a little silly I'm wondering if it's okay
Oh,
for you guys to just
we
share that
we were going to
material.
share their application materials. We were not going to ask them to reapply. We were just going to send you what they submitted to us. I know in the
Got it.
past, yeah, I know in the past we had shared our, and sorry, you weren't maybe at that meeting, but we had shared our application questions. I know you all might have different questions you are looking for. We kind of kept it because this is a pilot of what it would look like to share out, right? And to start getting more students to apply and also promoting our program partners. And so what we can do is, our goal was whoever MOU'd with us, they will receive those packets. So when we say packets, they'll receive what the students have submitted to us. We have on the website, as Angie conveyed earlier, a link out to your program. So there's literally nothing stopping the student from applying to multiple programs. Students right now can apply to multiple programs. And so that's just something to, yeah, they can literally apply to 20, right? It's up to them. Yeah.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Great questions. So we will kind of, Angie and I will circle back, and then I think if there's questions or if there's some hiccups, we'll kind of learn from this. So we're going to see, this is a pilot, right? And then I hope we answered Will's question about supporting international students. Well, I'm going to elevate this question up. And one thing I would like to kind of let all of you know is that there is an NSF grant for supporting international students. And one of the things that I was hoping to do was to apply for a global Europe. And so I would love to kind of, if folks are interested in creating partnerships to support more international students or a student regardless of status, I would love to kind of convene with folks to connect about how we might work together to create more seed of funds, and then also support you all. So I'm gonna make a note of this, and then I'm gonna follow up. And if anybody on this call is interested in this kind of international focus of undergraduate research, please send us a message. You can just send it to Angie and she'll kind of collect everything. And we'll get a list of who's interested in this kind of international support, and then pull you into those conversations. Will, what do you think of that?
I think that'd be great. So I think with some of the mechanisms that Marcus is working on, it's gonna be critical to us. We do have some private funds that we could use for things, but it's right now a matter of being able to do so with a legal work permit.
Yes.
To push through.
So we'll involve, that sounds like an HR question as well.
Yeah,
so,
I was part of an NSF program like that where I
Yeah.
studied abroad in Australia, and so there are ways to do that. And so in that case, I was paid by the U.S. government to work in Australia, and Australians were paid by the Australian government to work in the U.S. And so it's kind of a hostage exchange program.
That's great.
But if we can get other partners involved with that exchange, that works great.
Yeah, that sounds great. So we'll make that an ongoing conversation. And then what we can do is we can collect as much information on the policy and practice for international students that we know now. And then that way we can share it out with all the partners in case if you have international students, because we know we want to support them, and people's status should not impact their ability to access opportunities. So that sounds great. Okay.
And Annie, I would add that knowledge of things that we could do, like if we can simply support their housing or room and board or something like that legally, maybe that's probably going to be sufficient to get a handful of students here through programs like that.
Excellent. So what is the realm of resources? Where can resources currently go then? Okay, great. That sounds good. We'll create a nice little document that kind of collects what we know, and then that will help us all then have conversations about what do we not know, what do we need to know moving forward. That sounds good. So let's keep moving forward. Oh, wonderful. Gloria, you received your NARI link for the documentary. Gloria, can we share that with the OUR newsletter?
Yeah, absolutely. This is now publicly available. This is the first time that we have been able to see the NARI film available to the public. So that's great.
Fabulous. All right, folks, we got tons to get through. One thing we want to talk about, I'm going to hand it over to Shelley. Shelley, and I call you into the Zoom conversation.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shelley. I work on the education series. For this summer, summer's different because all of the summer program students are required to attend all the education series. So we want to make sure that they are useful for them. So right now I have lined up an introduction to the IRB. I'm working on a date for a presentation on how to create posters, one on public speaking and one on the stat lab. And then the next slide are some suggested topics from previous students. So if you have any feedback on any sessions you think, if you have summer program students, what sessions would be useful to them.
Yeah, and Shelley, I added the NSF Grad Research Fellowship preparing as an undergrad, because I think that's just an important one a lot of our students don't know about. And it's just, yeah, we want to make sure they're aware of it.
Yeah, the NSF Graduate Research Fellowship, we had that last summer, so I can set that up again, no problem. It was popular. The mental health and wellness, I'm trying to contact the Resiliency Center, just a presentation to help students deal with the stress and everything that comes with doing research and going to school. Data management, we are having that this semester, a presentation by librarians. So we can do that again so the summer students can watch it live. We've had suggestions on how to communicate in environmental and science fields. And then the last one, research identity in higher ed, it was how do you get into higher ed how do you get accepted if you have no prior experience? So a newbie to higher ed, how do you deal with that? And then a couple of students brought up the LGBTQ plus research, just tips on how to do that.
That's fabulous. That's going to be so important for our students, especially in the context of Utah. Gloria, your hand went up. Do you want to add comments? Go ahead.
Thank you. I might have missed it, but I believe also submitted an abstract for a national conference is always a very popular, like how to. The other topic that I found important is how to apply for travel scholarships for those conferences. And a very popular, and I hope that you can bring it back live, is how to prepare your poster presentations.
Oh yeah, that's coming back for sure, right, Shelley?
Yes, they've already committed. I'm just trying to set a date for that one.
Okay, and then abstracts, what we can do is we can see how old the last abstract content was and then see if that can get cycled back in. Tino, your hand's up, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that also I would suggest here is that most of us who have NSF RU, we are required actually, it's an NSF policy to have a workshop on sexual misconduct. For all the students that are coming from out of state, if something happened in the dorm, then they will not know where to go. And for us in physics, we do it every time, but we try to coordinate with chemistry, but sometimes it's a little bit. So if we
could coordinate it for you.
That could coordinate that and then just do it online.
That sounds great. Let's do that.
So that all the students who are coming from outside, then they know all the resources.
Yeah, it's been a year, I think, since we've done Title IX. So let's cycle that back in, Shelley.
Okay.
And then Tino, can you give Shelley a sense of when it has to occur so she can get it appropriately in the cycle? Like, does it need to occur in the beginning or does it just need to occur at some time? So is there a timeline when it's ideal?
I think the first week of the program, let's say that June 1st. Or the first week of June, because that is where most of the people are coming. Okay. Our students arrive at the end of May, but I think doing it earlier, it will be beneficial to everybody.
Fabulous. Okay, Great. Yes, everybody should know Title IX. That's wonderful. We should get it done early. That sounds great. So please reach out to Shelley if you have other suggestions. I see there was something about resume and CV building. We are also going to be doing a graduate school mini expo. So Shelley's going to talk about that in a minute. So there may be some crossovers of content. So before we get at that, Shelley, I'm going to have you keep going through. And there we go.
Yeah, our summer symposium is on Thursday, August 1st at 9 a.m. in the Alumni House is where it was last year. The poster presentations, they need to register by the 25th. And does anybody have any feedback on how the symposium worked last year? Any suggestions for changes?
Yeah, so we did at our last post summer undergraduate research activities, we had a program partner meeting and we got feedback then. But so if there's anything that's pressing, because we are getting at the hour and I want to make sure we get through a ton, please just let Shelley know, or you can just send an email to the office or to Angie and she'll collect all the suggestions and ideas for Shelley if you have anything about undergraduate research symposium. And if we can now talk about this, Shelley.
Our grad school mini expo is scheduled for June 6th from 12 to 4:30 at the Alumni House. So we're hoping that'll be, well, accessible for the lower campus students. I think last year it was more accessible to the upper campus students. And we've already scheduled Dean Butt from the graduate school to be the keynote speaker. Last year, these were our topics. So if anybody has any other suggestions, or if they can even help us get speakers for them, that would be great. I know the interviewing skills is always popular, personal statement. I think they're all popular, actually. And like I said, if anyone wants to help us get speakers, and we will need moderators for the day of, that you'll just introduce the speakers. So if you want to help with any of this, please let me know.
And if you want to suggest a speaker to Shelley, that helps her too a ton. This is the Graduate School Mini Expo. This is preparing students for graduate school applications, for getting them to think about it. And so your suggestions, thoughts is really welcome. I know it feels a little early to be planning it, but we need to get this in the book so our students are aware of it. We do it every summer. And so it's a really great collaboration between OUR and all of you. Actually, it's been primarily defined by our program partners. The graduate school does assist with some of the content, not a ton. It really does. I think the leadership of all of you has been really the important factor in all of this. So if you have speaker suggestions, topic suggestions, please send that our way. If you would like to be a moderator, know the request is going to be coming from Shelley. If you do not volunteer, we are going to ask you if you'd be interested in volunteering. Let's see, intellectual property. Okay, that sounds great. So keep your topics coming. We'll go ahead, send them our way, and then Shelley and Angie are going to work on kind of making decisions. Shelley will focus on education and graduate school mini expo. And then I saw there was a suggestion for the International Student Support Services. Yes, I think everyone's very aware. And I think our challenge is when students are not our students, how do we support them? Because oftentimes we bring students who are to do research who are not U of U students. I'm going to keep going because we have 7 minutes left. And I just want to remind folks of a couple of things. That was a video that we shared. Our student Doi had made a video for the office promoting undergraduate research. We wanted to share it with you. So we'll send that out. You can check it out. We hope you will share it out as well. It's just encourage more students. She was our animator. And the other thing we wanted to kind of talk about was the undergraduate research and curriculum. Undergraduate studies is moving towards having conversations around how we create an undergraduate research designation. This will not impact your curricular requirements as colleges, as departments, but the goal is to create more of credit and recognition of experiential learning that is research-based. And so I wanted to put it on your radar that there are conversations that will be happening within undergraduate studies. If you are interested in curricular conversations with undergraduate research designations and all of that aren't going to be held at the college level, but something to recognize undergraduate research that is not just a capstone course, not just a course you just offer, but how do we start to give credit or keep track of when courses are research-based? So these are conversations we'll be having. I just wanted to make sure you all were aware in case if there's any questions or thoughts on that. as well as we have some reminders, but before I plow through all the reminders, I just wanted to see if anyone has any other questions or suggestions. I will take your silence as minds are blown. Things are going great. Oh, could encourage research-based courses apply for EL designation? Yeah, so these are kind of the conversations we'll be having. We definitely don't want to have it impact any kind of gen ed, as well as the autonomy of our departments. And so just know that's kind of something we just want to also create some kind of standard. I know that USU has a campus-wide credit course designation for undergraduate research. So if USU can do it, we surely can do something like that. Yeah, thanks, Josh, for that. I'll just plow through the reminders very quickly, and then that will, reminder, your students are welcome to submit to the undergraduate research journal range. It has been receiving lots of traffic. It's been really exciting to see. We just came out with our second issue. Within the first 2 weeks, we already had over 1,300 views. And so I want to encourage all of you that we know that for OUR, and yes, Monica, these slides will be shared. And so for OUR, we just wanted to let you all know that our students are required to submit a minimum of an abstract. This journal accepts anything from abstracts to full-length articles, even research reflections. But one of the things that is required is a student must consult with their faculty mentor for it to be accepted. We do not want students publishing faculty data without the permission of the faculty, or that when the faculty reviews it, if they have questions, we want to make sure they have vetted that. We also want to remind you that posting opportunities, that all of your faculty are welcome to post a research opportunity in our database. We encourage you to utilize that. We created a new section for the library. So this is actually, I think, an older image. So now you can also search for library opportunities. And I'm going to keep moving forward if it will allow me. I also want to remind you all that we award students with the undergraduate research scholar designation. The next deadline is coming up. Cindy, can you remind us when is the next deadline for the undergraduate research scholar designation?
So February 10th is the early deadline to get their name printed in convocation programs. And then the final deadline is just the end of the semester.
So we encourage the early deadline. If the student is unsure if they fulfill all the requirements, have them consult with the office, because they just need to be registered for our undergraduate research symposium. They can already do that. They just need to submit to the Range Journal. They can submit a draft of something and then resubmit a final article if they feel like things have changed. And so that's kind of something we want to encourage, is that your students get recognized in their, they get the undergraduate research scholar designation showing up in their transcripts. And then they're also listed. So we encourage that. Other opportunities, Funding Fridays and IRB Lab. Oops, sorry, let's go back to this one. We will be having the Undergraduate Research Advisory Council on March 19th. Each college already has a representative. So if you have questions and are interested in knowing who is your college representative, please do reach out to me or to the office, and we're happy to let you know. You can also find them on the website. As a friendly reminder, our next OUR program partner meeting is on April 10th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Angie will be sending you lots of reminders and notifications. If there's anything you would like to get on the agenda, please let Angie know. She is the master of our schedule. And so that is pretty much, we are 1 minute to the hour. I just wanted to see if there's any final questions, anything else folks would like to chat about. You are ready to head to the next thing. We will let you go, friends. Thank you so much for joining the OUR Program Partners meeting. We're always here to support you. Want to thank you all for your partnership and for everything you do. We can't do the work we do without you. And so we want to thank you all. If all Angie will send out slides, so you will be getting this as well as the video. If you want to share the video with others, you'll also get a link to that.
So
Okay.
I also have one question before you finish. So you had a slide about the undergraduate research designation or something that was few slide after. So
Yeah.
that, do they have to do 2 semester of funded through OUR, or they can be?
They just need to do 2 semesters of research. I'm sorry, that video really wants to play. They just need to do 2 semesters of research. We do not say funding. It says 2 semesters. So if they are working with your faculty on this research, that faculty just needs to vouch, yes, that student in fact did do research with me for 2 semesters. It doesn't have to be funded. It could be an independent study. It could have been as an internship. It could have been as a wide range of ways that research happens for recognition. It just needs to be 2 semesters.
Okay, and then the submission to the range, they just need to be submitted, not accepted, right?
They just need to be submitted, and we only reject them if their faculty rejects them.
Got it. And then
Yeah.
the deadline for that, if they're graduating in May, they still have the opportunity to.
Yeah, so the
For
deadline
this.
for that is actually June, but to get the designation, they probably should just get stuff in by February. If they want to be in the convocation in that wonderful printout where everybody sees these awesome students' names, like who doesn't want to see their name on a website?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
got it. Thank you. That's awesome.
yeah, great. I see there's a chat. Any other questions? No, okay, great. Well, thank you again all for your partnerships. And Angie will be in touch with you soon with the slides and all of that. And thank you all for joining us. We are going to end the meeting. Bye.